Wuthering Heights, brought to the screen by Emerald Fennell, is the latest adaptation, nay, interpretation, of the famed Emily Bronte novel. The quotation marks found in the title are doing a lot of heavy lifting, so don't go in expecting Wuthering Heights. Yes, the character names are kept, for the characters who make it into this film interpretation, but the story is radically different. Having spent the past week reading the book, I can say so with an amount of authority. This film follows the tumultuous relationship between Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff over the course of many years. I have an issue with Fennell's writing, which began with Saltburn and has only gotten worse here. I'm all for flawed characters, that is where drama arises. There seems to be an amount of a disconnect between Fennell's writing of her characters, the intended meaning behind said characters, and my perception of said characters. It's evident that she finds the book romantic, don't quite know how, and wants an audience to sympathise with the lover's plight as they must freak about, hidden from the people they know, the cause of which originating from how lower class Heathcliff is in the early stages of the narrative. The characters are then the most unsympathetic, callous rich people. They flaunt their wealth and everything boils down to their class in a romanticised lens. Or at least, I can't help but see the film as a romanticised view of privilege. The only thorn in the sides of our co-protagonists is but a small misunderstanding which leads to their separation and cajoling in secret. It's trivial and painfully uninteresting, as Fennell is incapable of real character growth. Cathy and Heathcliff especially are mostly static characters. The only real change is their growth from literal children into adults. Moreover, another key detail, the book works with unlikable characters who are easily swayed by their moods and are impulsive because they're younger. This film specifies that Cathy is pushing past spinster age, and yet the base characteristics of a young girl are maintained. The rift between the physical presentations of the characters and the characters on page, their motives, actions, dialogue, can only be summed up in one word: annoying. I can't call this film Wuthering Heights with a straight face. From here on out, if I shall refer to it, I shall dub it Not Wuthering Heights. Not Wuthering Heights, like Saltburn before it, is empty provocation. I do not wish to come off as a prude. I'm fine with sexual content in cinema, and will appreciate it if used well in a story. My most popular video to date has been on Pillion, which I reviewed positively. I don't really see the point of it in this story. Not Wuthering Heights baits the audience with this provocation, opening on a hanging where the victim is indecent, to say the least. It gets more extreme from there, but it rings hollow. Meaningless. For a film touting itself as the greatest love story ever made, none of it feels romantic, let alone thematically relevant. It just kind of happens in a cyclical loop, daring the audience to watch the transgressive material on screen. Well, surprise, nothing can really be transgressive without a point. There is no point to Not Wuthering Heights, except the demand that an audience sympathise for ill-motivated horrible characters. I don't like many of the characters in the book, but there, its critiques of society, class, and romance allows characters' actions to mesh more with the narrative flow. Despicable characters are made so fascinating in that one because of their complexities, while this film simplifies everything into a paper-thin romance. I physically couldn't bring myself to do so. A positive. I can, with confidence, call Not Wuthering Heights the best-looking, bad film I've seen in a while. Maybe ever. Lena Sangren may be unable to compose a terrible shot. They're all beautiful to look at. What makes each shot better is the production/costume design. Personally, I don't care about the anachronisms or the general unreality. It adds a mythic, fable-like feel where the aesthetic is all that really matters. I cannot deny how each setting, in its lavish opulence, is wonderful to see in a studio picture. The way that light is utilised, one moment in particular with the red sky stands out to me, looks particularly gorgeous. I do need to bring up Elordi's casting in this, don't I? It's difficult to avoid it. So, for this story, of excessive horniness, it might have been for the best that Heathcliff be whitewashed. Succumbing to racial stereotypes, especially by a filmmaker so disinterested in racial dynamics, as the incredibly Caucasian-leaning filmography of Fennell demonstrates, would sour this film even more. My 2 cents? Elordi's not even that good in the film, I don't think. Neither is Robbie as Cathy. Their chemistry seems forced, the dialogue they're fed is atrocious, and seems ripped out of a prepubescent fanfiction. My bigger complaint is with the casting of Hong Chow and Shazad Latif. I'm not here to say that they are bad actors. To be honest, they may be overqualified. I'm a fan of Chow's especially, and she does play Nellie especially well. I'm simply confused as to the casting of ethnically diverse actors in these roles, where they offer more conflict, opposing the romance of the lovers. It makes them seem like just an obstacle to fight against in the name of true love, which is dismissed by the fact that the conflict stems from a simple misunderstanding. For Wuthering Heights especially, race-blind casting seems backwards, but also Fennell does actively shun the deeply political roots which are ingrained in the original, further cementing this as good-looking, hollow, professionally made Wuthering Heights cosplay. If this rambling wasn't clear enough, I loathe this film, and do solidly stand by my claim that it is a beautiful film. Only aesthetically, its story is a slog to get through, and really weedy if you look at it for a fraction of a moment. Phenomenal looking, terrible film. Wuthering Heights, 1.5 stars.
Well, that's all. Keep on watching movies, and form your own opinions. See you in the next one.